Photo of you in my mind, on the table under lights.
Good morning, Brandon Hyden here. Hope you're having a great day. The time is currently 10 AM in the morning and the date is the 17th of September, currently 2 weeks post pro card. We're out here in this random Polish forest. We're currently in Poland for Geordie for her first pro qualifier, for her to compete for the pro card for the first time, which is exactly what we did in Austria and came away with the win. And the reason we're in this weird forest, which is actually quite beautiful, which is right next to the Airbnb that we're staying in for the 4 days that we're in Poland. I've come here with this chair to sit down and talk about a lot of the things that has been happening and going through my mind ever since the pro card. Over the last 2 weeks, I think I've experienced the highest highs and the lowest lows of my entire life. It's been a roller coaster. There's been a lot happen in terms of mindset, injury. If you've been following me on Instagram, you will know sort of some of the things that have been happening. I thought I'd come here with the Airbnb chair. Hopefully they don't have a go at me. They're actually pretty nice people. Like, Polish people are very hospitable, so I'm sure they won't mind the chair, but I'm gonna set it up right now and sit down and talk to you guys about what's happening and what will be going down in the future. Kind of nervous to like make this video. There's a lot I want to say. I'm not sure what order it's going to come out in, but I feel like we should just start kind of like from the beginning and sort of like what has been happening like post-show. Kind of slanted right now. We're not exactly on even terrain right now, but yeah, I feel like we should start things off with how it felt when I got back to the UK, obviously after getting the pro card in Austria. Came back to a surprise from Geordie, which was something that I like did not expect. I expected just like come home with the pro card, give her a big kiss, have some off-plan food and go to bed, and that was going to be it. But she surprised me with this cheesecake that said IFBB, these balloons and all this huge celebration. It was like such an emotional thing for me, because one of the things that I did the entire prep was like I never let my emotions get the better of me. I knew what the goal was, and I knew that there was things that I could let myself do and not let myself do the entire prep. And one of those things that I couldn't let myself do was shed a tear until I got exactly what I wanted. And then I feel like when it all happened, I couldn't stop. When I got the pro card and actually walked off stage, it's like this like overwhelming flood of tears and emotion just like came bursting out of me. It was just tears of pure bliss and joy, and the fact that I'd let like 14 weeks of dieting just all build up, and the highs and the lows. And there were things that happened on this prep that I'm gonna like kind of break down very, very quickly, because I don't wanna like go too much into depth about the hardships. Essentially, a few of the setbacks on this prep. One was I think it was 4 weeks into dieting. I recently bought like a BB gun from Amazon, and it was like 2 in the morning, and I was like playing with it inside my apartment. At 4 in the morning, I'm fast asleep, like literally at the beginning of prep, and I get a knock on the door, and they're screaming SWAT, SWAT. And I'm like kind of delirious about what's happening. Geordie's waking me up. She's like, Brandon, the police are at the door. And of course I'm in massive disbelief. I'm like, there is absolutely no chance that this is happening right now. Anyway, it turns out one of the neighbors thought I actually had something inside my apartment, and they called me up for like arms, whatever. Got arrested, got put in a cell. That was the whole thing. And essentially I woke up the next day in the cell, and they were like, hey, there's no evidence to press charges. BB guns are legal in the UK. It was just a scared neighbor. But I basically basically woke up at 4 in the morning with 6 gentlemen pointing assault rifles at my head. Obviously left in cuffs the whole thing, and that honestly, like, it did shake me up a little bit, but we got out of the station. It's opposite Phoenix Gym, which is like the gym that I was doing cardio at the beginning of prep before we started doing cardio at Pure Gym down the street from the apartment. Got out at 12, did my cardio and started the entire day. And that's not something I've had the chance to actually recognize or like absorb or even realize that happened in a way. I received some news then. I'm not going to talk about who in the family, but someone in my family this prep, oh god, someone got cancer, and that was a lot to deal with as well. With me being in Canada for the entire time when I learned that this happened, I couldn't be there for this person. It was someone that raised me. It was someone that has been there for my entire childhood and even bought me my first car. I was very, very worried about this person, and the fact that I couldn't be there because I was on this journey in Canada, essentially treating the Canada part of prep as a boot camp to become an IFBB pro, training with the best, posing with the best, doing everything I could do to tailor myself into an athlete. I felt selfish, and then during the Canada trip, it was late at night. I wanted to get a can of rain out the fridge. I dropped it and I killed my big toenail, which made cardio terribly hard for about 4 days, having to like do 50 minutes incline walking on a broken toenail that has now gone black and is almost falling off. That was the whole thing too. And then obviously towards the end of prep, you may have seen on Instagram that I've been dealing with a lot of infections, and these are infections based on what I can only imagine coming from a substance that I'm using on this prep called Primobolan and Nanthate. Without going too scientific about it, my body, I thought it was many things. I thought, one, my body's done. We've peaked too many times. We did the first show, we did the second show, we did a guest posing for Callum's first show, the Race Street Royal Rumble, which I got to do a posing at. We essentially did like a practice peak. You may have seen that video yet, you may not, it might be the one after this or before. I was absolutely shredded on stage and I was the guest poser. And that was because we did a practice peak. So I'd peaked 3 times and I thought my body isn't mixing very well with the anabolics right now. And what was actually happening, the same thing that happened to me in Canada, by the way, another thing that happened on prep, I got a cyst infection in my lat that had to be drained by Dr. Con, found the cyst, drawed out the liquid, gave me antibiotics, and that eventually went away. That was another thing that happened in Canada. This was actually a week and a half ago after this very date, just after achieving the pro card in Austria. And it was in this glute that I did the injection, and over the few days the cyst thing basically developed again, but it was in a different part of the body, and it was an allergic reaction to the compound that essentially allows my Primobolan, which is 200 mgs per mil. Usually Primo, because it's such a strong substance, is 100 mgs per mil, but the compound used to like mix it together to be able to carry a higher dosage at like a lower mil, I think I had an allergic reaction to that. And I know this because as we speak, my glute has gone down. Went to an incredible doctor in London, a private doctor who's now actually given me his personal number, so if anything happens in the future. This is one of those days that like I'm making sure that absolutely nothing can go wrong, that we're fully prepared. Tomorrow we fly to Poland for Geordie's first regional qualifier of the year. So this was the only day that I could get the appointment. It literally took me so long to try and get this appointment. I was on the phone for an hour and a half. NHS this, referral this, go see your GP. I'm like, I'm in Brighton, my GP's in Birmingham. I got my meals all prepped in the bag right there, fully prepared for like a long day. Trying to avoid the speed cameras that always catch you, even if you go 1 single mile an hour over the speed limit. So we are in cruise control. We are just cruising there. Alright guys, we just arrived, just parked up. We are gonna get some steps in because we are actually an hour early to the appointment. I'm pretty sure if the map's right, the appointment is inside that big skyscraper right there, but I'm literally just like walking around now getting those steps in. 18 minutes so far. I'll probably go to like 35 minutes and then head up to the big building right there and go to the appointment. I'm actually feeling the fit today so much. The Learn More, Dream More, Be More t-shirt is obviously from Alphalete. Hard body, duffel bag with all my meals in and my water and stuff. So, and if you do want to get anything from Alphalete, you can use code HARDBODY at the checkout. You'll save 10%. And if you do want to shop Hard Body duffel bag or anything from Hard Body, it is the first link in the description. Pro card cookie, and right here my chicken, rice and veg meal for the drive halfway through the way back. Not looking too bad. This is officially the pro card cookie. I feel like now medically I'm pretty covered in the UK from building a relationship with this guy. I was very lucky, but essentially the same thing happened, and I got a scan. He said there's a buildup of fluid. He gave me a 7-day antibiotic cycle, and that has actually begun to work its way down my leg, and my entire leg is inflamed. At the same time as healing from this antibiotic cycle, my lat on the other side has become swollen. And I don't know if you can realize, but if you see this arm here, you can see the brachialis and the tricep, but this arm, see how there's no definition here whatsoever? Like, I don't know how obvious it is on the camera, but you can see the bicep vein there, and on here, there's no vein at all. And that is because the injection I did before Poland, coming here to basically finish off this week's injections, out to front load because you can't bring any substances like that across the border. I am here Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so I had to do my jabs on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday morning. As you can now kind of get the gist of, this whole half of my body is inflamed and this other half is conditioned. I was terribly worried about this, and it's something that has been causing a lot of my anxiety and ups and downs on prep over the last like 2 weeks, considering the fact that 4 weeks post show, I actually said it in my show day vlog, I'm going to be planning to go to France to compete in the Yamamoto Pro and actually do my pro debut in the same season as achieving my pro card. And it was a bold statement to make, and it was a very greedy statement to make, and I feel like I made that because I was the first show, the regional qualifier, I got such an endorphin release, and it gave me this drive, this motivation to fly to Austria and to experience the same thing again, but getting better and better and better, and then coming out and achieving my dream that I've wanted to achieve ever since stepping on stage for the first time at 19 years old and actually becoming a pro athlete. Like, what this means now is that I don't have to regionally qualify ever again. I can go into pro shows, I can travel the world. I'm classed as a professional athlete, so when it comes to like for example, the doctor was like, bro, you're a pro athlete now, you need a doctor to have your back. And one of the reasons why he's agreed to work with me medically over the off season, I can get a visa, I can get a P1 visa to go to America. If you've been following the vlogs now for like 2 or 3 years, you know that I haven't been able to get into America because of the fact that I had an American girlfriend for 5 years and we went in and out all the time, and the government were like, hey, you're kind of beating the system a little bit, you need a visa if you want to come back. I can now get one. I can now get a P1 visa. It wasn't just about the pro card. It was about so much more than that. It was about overcoming limitations globally, me being locked off from like a part of the world that I love, that I can now go to and travel. I can actually maybe go to Alphaland, like literally Alphalete, the company that sponsored me now for the last like 3 years. I haven't even been able to go to Alphaland because of the fact I've not been able to get into America. So hopefully when that's all sorted and I do apply for the visa, I can go to Alphaland and see Christian and see the gym and actually experience that. So as you can probably realize at this point, that achieving the pro card in Austria, the reason I was so emotional, the reason I'd let all these things build up, because it wasn't just a 14-week prep. It was the hardships that were dealt with, it was the emotions that were unfelt and just locked away until the final moment where I was actually able to allow myself to feel something. It was the build-up of years and years and years of wanting something and now almost being allowed to go and put the plan in place to be able to travel to a country in the world that I've been essentially banned from. A childhood dream, a very recent dream, a dream for the past like 6 years has come true. And the reason I said I wanted to do the Yamamoto Pro is because I feel like I became addicted to the endorphin release of stepping on stage, and one of the reasons why I did the guest posing as well and actually got to experience that same endorphin release, which was just stepping on stage and the entire world just vanishing, and it was just me and the work I put in and then the audience, and being able to just express myself through the art of bodybuilding and just like absolutely loving everything about the experience. And I want to experience that again. That's the reason I set out to do the Yamamoto Pro, to stay on prep, which I have done for the past 2 weeks. One thing I've realized through coming to Poland and through the ups and downs of the last week is that I may have wanted to do another show and to do my pro debut for the wrong reasons. And right now I'm going to read a message that I sent to my coach Callum this morning, which is kind of crazy because we actually had a conversation last night that was the very opposite of the message that I sent him this morning. After a bit of a walk last night, a bit of time for myself, because I haven't even reflected anything that happened in Austria. I haven't really took in the fact that we were a freaking pro. Like, what the fuck? I think maybe one of the reasons it hasn't been able to sink in yet is because prep hasn't ended. So it feels like the journey and the responsibility of what I have to do hasn't ended. So it hasn't allowed me to have that moment of like, it's happened. You got what you wanted, because I've been receiving like thousands of messages on Instagram, and I've been trying my best to get back to every single one of you. So thank you for reaching out and, you know, sharing the love and being, you know, an inspiration to me as well as me hopefully being able to inspire you as well. I think when I turn the camera off right now, I think when I shut this off and end the Road to Pro series for good, because obviously it was the end post show, but of course like we're still talking about the whole prep thing. But I think when this video ends, I've got like a bunch of more videos to post. I've got like obviously this whole experience in Poland, but I do think that when this is over, I'll be able to sit here on this random Airbnb chair and just have a moment to myself. I feel like this is like the Truman Show. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm kind of just literally sharing every aspect of my life with you. And I have done ever since I was like 18 years old. And now we're 25 years old and I've just began my pro career. The weirdest thing, I've been doing YouTube now for 6 or 7 years, and I feel like the whole road to pro thing, this was season 2. There was something about this season, this prep that like felt very finite. Whether it was a good or bad outcome, it felt very finite in terms of like, if I wasn't to get the pro card in this season, I don't think I'd do a whole series again that would be Road to Pro season 3. I think I would have just prepped in silence and not made a big fuss about it, and then just like tried to get the pro card rather than doing like season 3, season 4, season 5 of Road to Pro, and then, you know, season 6 and like you're 30 years old and you still haven't got it, and it kind of gets a bit old. Now it happened, and I feel like I've proven to myself that I can be a professional athlete and achieve that achievement. That this is like almost the beginning of a new era. It's like the beginning of the next step in actually becoming a professional bodybuilder, and actually, you know, being not only a professional bodybuilder but a good one that can do well on a pro stage, one that can make an impact, not just knock on the door but break that shit down, not just step on the stage but own the stage. And I'm going to read the message that I sent to Callum right now, and it's kind of going to explain the way I'm going with this. Brother, I think I'm done. I feel like I'm going to do more harm than good at this point for my body and for my mind. Trying not to be too hard on myself, but I think I'm going to struggle with that, unfortunately. I was very hyped last night after the call. As I said, me and Callum had a call that was pretty much opposite to this message right now. If I truly dive down into my reason for pushing, it's now become more about making you and others proud and not myself. Just to elaborate on that, I feel like staying on prep right now over the course of the last little bit has become less about what I want and more about like keeping like Callum proud, because I saw how proud Callum was after the show. I saw his face and I saw that like we bonded so well, and it was like something that I wanted to just like continue on with. Me and Geordie are literally planning to move up to Burton-on-Trent to be around Callum and the whole group start of next year. So, you know, the road doesn't end, the road just begins. But for some reason I wanted to stay on prep to make him proud, and of course all the support from you guys, and I get literally hundreds of messages a day right now, and it's you're the reason I'm pushing on. Your prep is the reason that I'm able to do these things, and that drives me so much every day. So I feel like I had a responsibility in a way, but of course after all I do have to put myself first. I truly want to be able to make myself proud when I stand up there with the pros, which I know will happen after our off season together. We're chasing the O qualification, which I'm hungrier for than just putting my foot in the door. I want to break that door down. I'm not down or disappointed with this decision, even to the extent that I'm still planning to come to France to be there for Geordie and all the other guys. Essentially, Geordie, if she doesn't get a pro card in Poland, we will be flying to France. But I also want to be there for the inspiration for the off season. I'm not going to look at that stage and say, I wish that was me. I want to see it and be able to say, next time I'm going to mess you all up in the kindest way possible. Let's plan a slow reverse for after Poland, as I don't want to be fat for the Arnold, which I'll be at, by the way, if anyone's going to the Arnold Classic, but I do think it is what's best for me now. I got the IFBB Pro card, which I truly didn't think was possible. You are the #1 coach in the game for a reason, and if you can make a champion out of me, you can truly turn anyone into greatness. Always appreciate you. We have a busy year ahead of us now. That was the message. By the way, if the light was bouncing off the trees and the stuff, like, I'm sorry if it was like coming in and out of focus. That was the message to Callum. He hasn't yet read it yet, but I wanted to just sit down here, read it to you guys and give you the lowdown, because as of right now, I have stopped prep. It's over. It's freaking over. I will be annoyingly honest right now that this prep has been the easiest prep of my entire life. And I feel like it's because mine and Callum's relationship has developed. He's learned my body in a way that's highly responsive to the plan in place in terms of like the mental clarity, the focusedness. Maybe it's a maturity thing, maybe I'm just growing up, maybe I'm just getting more seasoned at doing this, but I feel like this is my 9th and 10th show. I got the pro card after competing for the 10th time. Previously I'd done like a random other federation, it wasn't Two Bros. Last year we competed for the pro card for the first time, and on the 2nd ever run we achieved it. But it has been 6 years of my life, and the fact that it's now happened, I'm gonna sit here on this chair, I'm gonna just stare into space and, you know, go wake Geordie up, because Geordie's 1 day out today, by the way, so please message her on Instagram and wish her some luck, or like congratulate her on whatever happened this weekend, whether she gets her pro card or not. I'm gonna take you off this tripod, I'm just gonna hold the camera right now. I left a bit of an Easter egg in the show day vlog. It's like literally just after I got off stage. We have a very big project ahead of us. As I said at the end of Callum's message, we have a big year ahead of us. There's a lot of work to be done, and I'm very excited to start that venture off with documenting it with you guys, with growing Hardbody, and now with having the biggest off off season of my entire life. We are going to have to grow. My weight cap has gone up by 10 pounds. I was already massively below it. In Austria, I woke up 202 pound, weight cap being 220 pound. It's now 230, so I have a 28 pound weight cap to fill up, meaning I can grow with no ceiling. And for the first time, me and Callum are going to be taking this off season by storm and actually doing something, treating the off season as if it's a prep and growing and growing and growing. So next year, we're not just going to put our foot in the door, we're going to break that shit down. Road to Pro Show will begin next year. You've heard the saying, pressure is a privilege, and one of the reasons this prep was so plain sailing and so effortless for me is because I felt a necessary amount of pressure to do what was necessary to come out with the result that I did. I knew what I had to do every single day, the boxes had to be ticked, and it was the pressure of going to Austria, having Callum and my brother, everyone there with me, that gave me the reason that I needed to come out on top. I want to say thank you for every single message on this prep. I want to say thank you for supporting me and helping me achieve my dreams and always being there for me. The plan right now is I'm going to head back, I'm going to wake Geordie up so we can go and do some morning cardio, because of course we will be reverse dieting properly. I hope that you understand this decision. I hope you can respect the decision that has been made. I hope that I can now find some bliss in this and actually be proud of what's happened, rather than like putting another pressure in. Like, I'm addicted to just achieving more. Like, we got the pro card and it's almost like even something as substantial as that wasn't enough. We had to do the pro debut on top of that, and it came from greed, honestly. Like, I'm a greedy guy, and I let that get the better of me. It feels very weird. I don't really know how to end this, so I'm just gonna say, guys, thank you again. I freaking love you, and thank you for always being there for me. Yeah. If you enjoyed, drop a like, subscribe if you're new, post notifications, because it really helps the channel grow. This is officially the end of hard body shredding, road to pro. Next coming is road to the O. That felt good to say. Guys, peace. We fucking did it! What?